If I woke up tomorrow with no degree, no data experience, and only one goal to make $100,000 in data as fast as humanly possible, I would not start where 90% of people start. Here's what no one is saying. Most people don't get stuck because they're missing information. There's more free data content right now at any point in history. They get stuck because they're running the wrong sequence and pouring months into things that just won't move them an inch closer to a paycheck. So today, I'm going to walk through the exact path I'd run from day one to a six-figure data career. The right things in the right order, and one step in this map is where almost everyone quietly loses 6 to 12 months without even realizing it. So do not click off before I show you which one. Now, if this is your first time here, I'm Kedeisha. I used to deliver pizzas, and now I deliver insights as a self-taught data scientist. And I've coached thousands of other career changers to break into data analytics. And if you ever want to work with me one-on-one to land your first role in data analytics in the next 6 months, click the link in the description so we can work together. All right, so move number one. Before you open a single course, you need to define the destination, because $100,000 in data isn't one job. It's a tier that you climb to, and you can't sequence a path to a number that you've never actually defined. So let's be real for a second about what that number actually means. Right now, there are about 3 out of 10 data analyst job postings that's already listing six figures. The average of data analyst salaries is about 111K. That's a $20,000 jump in a single year. And the tier above that, business intelligence analyst, RevOps, principal analyst, those run to 140 to even $200,000 a year. Zero machine learning necessary. Sit with that for a second, because it tells you everything about how this works. These roles don't pay more because there's more code involved. They pay more because the person in them connects data to a business decision. That is the whole game. You're not getting paid for what you know. You're getting paid for what you can prove a business should do next. So before we talk skills, you have to pick your target. Analyst to start, then maybe senior or specialist to clear that six figures. Now, every single thing that you learn has a job to do. No more learning for the sake of learning, which brings us to phase one, what you actually learn first. Phase one is the foundation. And here's a mindset shift that will save you a whole year of frustration. The goal of this phase is not necessarily depth, but direction. You are building the smallest stack that gets you to walk in and do the job on day one. Not perfect, not senior, functional, and credible. So here's exactly what to learn in order. First, you gotta think like an analyst. That's the least technical part, but also the most important. It's just learning how to ask business questions before you even touch the data. Then Excel, then SQL, then one BI tool, Tableau or Power BI. Pick one, not both, starting out. Then data storytelling. That's really it, and that's the foundation. Now, look at what I did not say. I didn't say Python. Python, I would say, is optional. I did not say machine learning. I didn't say advanced statistics. You only need descriptive statistics. And before you argue with me, the job postings back this up. SQL shows up overwhelmingly majority of the analyst jobs. Excel in about 4 out of 10. Python roughly a third. And you don't need it to get hired and clear six figures as an analyst. Now, about 60% of employers say hard skills are the single most important thing, but only the right hard skills in the right order. This is where people get this wrong. They go fast, but way too fast, and they chase a certificate, they speed through, and they just check the box. But that speed is a loan, and you pay it back later with interest. When you're in an interview and you can write a select statement, but you can't even explain why the numbers matter, or you don't even know what a CTE is. So in phase one, you go for understanding, not badges. This is not Pokemon. Because the business reason is simple. A company doesn't pay you to know Excel. It pays you to walk into a mess, walk into ambiguity, find the story, save it, or make it money. That's the value of the job. That starts here with the right 5 things instead of the wrong 40. But now skills alone won't get you hired, right? Phase two is where you go from learning to getting hired, and they are not the same thing. You can be the most skilled candidate in your whole city, but if no hiring manager has ever seen your name, your skills are worth nothing. Visibility plus proof is how you get hired in today's job market, not skill alone. Let me reframe the competition for you, because it's holding you back. You see a job posting with 500 applications and you count yourself out automatically. But here's the reality. The vast majority of those 500 sent a generic resume and did nothing else. No portfolio link, no follow-up, no connection to anyone in the company. Your real competition isn't 500 people. It's probably 15 to 20 who actually did the work to stand out. You don't need to beat 500. You need to outshow 15. So how do you outshow them? Well, 2 things. First, your portfolio stops being art and it starts being a sales asset. Every project answers 4 questions. What problem did you solve? What metric mattered? What decision changed? And what did you recommend? Problem, metric, decision, recommendation. That is a project that reads like paid work, not a class assignment. Second, and this is the move no one wants to make, you go get real experience for free. You find a local nonprofit, a local small business, a community organization, offer to analyze their data, their attendance, whatever it is, for 30 days. You do it fast and deliver a clean consulting style deck with real recommendations. And now you can put analytics consultant on your resume and LinkedIn. That is a difference between no experience and proven impact. And employers will tell the difference instantly. Here's a business why. Proof is a product today, not the resume. A hiring manager is not buying your potential. They're removing their own risk. And every piece of proof that you show takes the risk off their plate. And in a market full of aspiring analysts and all these AI generated resumes, the person who removes doubt is the person who gets the interview and the person who gets the job offer. All right, quick pause. Now, if you want to land your first job in data analytics and avoid the lengthy mistakes that I did, click the link in the pinned comment where you can find the exact steps that my students use to land their job in data analytics without going back to school. All right, now let's get back to it. This next part is where a lot of people lose momentum for months. Remember that step that I told you at the very start? The one where almost everyone quietly loses about 6 to 12 months? Well, this is it. And it's called the tutorial loop. And it's the graveyard of all data careers. The tutorial loop is when you finish a course after course but can't apply anything that you learned. You can follow along when someone else is driving, but the second that you get behind the wheel of a car, you don't know what the heck you're doing or where to go or how to even operate the steering wheel. It dresses up in costumes too. Certificate chasing, where you collect another badge instead of building anything. Portfolio perfectionism, where you tweak the same dashboard for 3 weeks because it's never quite ready. And the worst one, waiting until you feel ready to apply. Let me save you the time. The feeling is never going to arrive. But here's why it's so dangerous. It actually feels productive. You feel busy. You're just learning, you're checking boxes, so it doesn't feel like a problem. It's like watching workout videos and wondering why you're not getting stronger. Or worse, it's like training for a modern job on a typewriter. You can practice for 1,000 hours and still walk in with a skill no one is hiring for. So here's the fix, and this is a whole thing. Small, complete loops. Instead of a 40-hour course, you do a task that you can finish in 30 to 60 minutes that actually looks like the job. A data cleaning challenge, messy data in, clean data out, rules documented. A SQL challenge, question, query, answer. A data storytelling challenge, numbers in, one clear recommendation out, small enough to finish and real enough to feel like work. And you ship one multiple days a week or even once a week, because momentum isn't a feeling, it is an output. Every challenge or loop that you finish becomes proof. Every piece of proof gets you closer to the job offer. Perfectionism gives you none of that. It just gives you another month of wasted time. Okay, now let's get back to the roadmap. And this is phase 3 of getting in the door. And now this is all about landing the first opportunity. And the reason most people struggle here is because they're swimming in the wrong ocean. There's a red ocean and then there's a blue ocean, and almost everyone is drowning in the red one. The red ocean is obvious, right? You search data analyst and you find a job posting with 1,000 applicants. You mass apply and you wait. That's a bloodbath. The blue ocean is where the smart career changers swim. Roles filled through referrals, roles found through real conversation, and hiring managers who need help right now and haven't even posted yet. And here's a blue ocean move that you can use right now. Stop searching data analyst. That's just one label. The same exact skills hide under dozens of other titles. Business intelligence analyst, reporting specialist, product analyst, operations analyst, process analyst, financial analyst, analytics consulting. The list goes on and on. Same stack, same dashboards, just different keywords. I work with someone out of logistics who never even touched a single data analyst job posting. She went after process analyst roles because she could show how she streamlined operations. Same skills, different angle, and she got hired and even got a raise. So instead of 300 cold applications, you run targeted warm ones. You build a relationship with a recruiter by showing proof, not by begging. You walk into interviews with your high impact star stories. Situation, task, action, result. That connection of your old career to the value that you bring now. And you do the boring thing most people won't. When something works, you repeat it. 70% of your effort goes into the move that's already getting callbacks, not reinventing your approach every week because you got bored. The business case here is simple. Fewer conversations with the right 10 people beat 500 applications into the void. It's less time and far more higher hit rate. The market is not closed. There are thousands of analyst roles open right now. You've just been knocking on the wrong doors. All right, so here's the part no roadmap shows you. What happens after you get hired? Because your first data analyst job may or may not be a six-figure job. It really just depends on what experience that you have. For most people, the 100K job offers lives in what you do after you're in. There's a ladder to it, and I use it with every student. It's called the analyst value ladder. Level 1 is the reporter. You pull numbers, you refresh dashboards, you basically react. This is where 80% of people get stuck, and it's the most replaceable rung in an organization because anyone can do it. Level 2 is a diagnoser. You don't just say what happened, you explain why it happened. Why did churn rate spike last month? Then you go find the driver of that. That is where the pay starts jumping into the 80K to 120K range. Then it keeps climbing. Level 3, the recommender. You propose the action and you model the impact. Level 4, the operator. You help teams actually execute and you own the metrics. And then level 5, the strategist. You shape direction and you influence the leaders in the room. Every rung up is a bigger paycheck, and none of them are about knowing a fancier tool. They're about owning more of the decisions and outcomes. So, how do you actually climb instead of sitting at level 1 for 5 years? Well, three things. You have to tie every piece of your work to money, revenue, cost, or risk. You stay visible inside the company and on LinkedIn, so the right people always know what you're driving. And the market is telling you exactly where the leverage is. Companies increasingly want domain depth, someone who knows their world, not a generalist who just knows tools. All right, so let's bring it all together. So if there's one thing that you take from this, take this. The reason most people never reach 100K in data isn't because they're not smart enough or they're not capable enough or because they're not learning more tools. It's because they're following random advice instead of a clear sequence. The goal was never to do more. It was to do the right things in the right order. The deeper shift is this. Again, it's never about just mastering tools. There's always going to be more tools. It's about mastering thinking and strategy, about becoming the bridge between a messy business problem and the decision that fixes it. Because you're not learning to get a job, you're learning to become more valuable. Get it right, and the market stops being something that you fight and starts being something that comes looking for you. Now, I told you Python is not where to start, but a lot of you are maybe still wondering, where does it all fit into all of this? So I broke that down in this next video here. I'll see you in the next one.